most of us, what we want when we look at that new job is, or that new home or that new relationship, we want to be happy. More than anything else, we think that those things will make us happy. So what would happen if we begin practicing happiness now?
Yeah, think from. Isn't that what he said? Think from, lovely and of good report. And as you think, you are. There you are. You'll say it over and over and over, and then, but people will really understand that it is the hearing that really plants it, because that's the way you learned your ABCs, your times tables, repetition, and then it starts to make sense to you. And then once you have it, now you see that it has many, many, many operations throughout your life. A simple being able to just count your money. Think how important that is. You'd be like a blind man handing out bills and hoping he gets back the right change. It really pays you to actually feel your own mind, to listen to what is being said to you. And it is being said. You are having revelations. You may pass them off as just, aha moments of something, but they're more than that. If you'll open them and quicken them, you'll find that they are very quickly, especially if you really go for it and feel wholehearted about what you're doing. And that's the secret of it all. It's just being wholehearted at whatever you're doing, because it's your way of life. You're actually choosing your way of life day by day. Do it wisely.
Speaking of doing it wisely, I was communicating with somebody recently, and they were talking about, of course, we talked about the issue of depression, and I said, ultimately what we have to do is put on the mind of Christ consciousness. And so the person came back to me, and they said, well, isn't Christ a figure that really wasn't in history? I said, well, listen, don't miss the point of what Scripture is doing. I said, from Genesis to Revelation, that's your story. I said, so when you're seeing the Abraham, when you're seeing the Moses, when you see Peter's, the Pauls, all the way up to Christ, I said, because Christ is the goal. Jesus Christ is the goal of each one of us. And that basically says that I am. Realize that we are, in fact, God. Then we're ready to transcend. And so it goes back to what you said last time we talked, and she said, well, what's the ultimate end of transcending? I said, I am. You said that before and we laughed about it, but it was brilliant. And it's just that. When we come to the realization that I am, before you get to that point, you want to kill yourself. You want to stress about what's going on in society. You think that this person's the cause, that person's the cause. But when we come to the point of I am, we realize that I am the cause of my world of existence. Would you agree?
One thing I'll tell you saves you, and that is, it's a forever journey. I am with you always. I will never leave you. What does that sound like to you? Melody, doesn't it? There you are. That's how long you got. And if you want to suffer it that long, well, have a good time with that. Because that's what you will do. Nothing going to be taken away from you. You have to give it up, or it'll stick to you forever. Just feel that you're free. Feel what freedom would be for you. This is not telling you what you should think. It's telling you that you are thinking. Watch it, because it is your future. It's not falling into the past. I thought that many, many years, that what I said a while ago, what I may have said a week or a month or a year ago, but you see, consciousness doesn't forget. You see, and that's our problem. We forget. We forget because we don't remind ourselves properly to remember. And what you say you want to remember what do? You usually write it down, repeat it several times to remember it. You too, huh?
Absolutely. But you know what? We've gotten smart. That's why we make these recordings, so that we can listen to them over and over again.
You know something? You're absolutely right. And I'll tell you what. This last week, I pulled out a tray of 50 tapes, and I started going through them. And I said, wow, I said that. That only verifies what I've been telling you all along. This is coming through me. It's not coming to me. It's not coming to you. It's coming through you. Your world is coming through you word by word, and we're told that every word must be accounted for. Pretty serious that every word must be accounted for. After all, consider what it is that's taking place. There's only God. He's all things to all, so therefore he's all God. What does all mean to you? That's where we lose it. We take things as a symbol, but then we really don't use the symbol. It's only to remind you. You need to set symbols for yourself to remind yourself what it is you have agreed upon. This is not telling you what to think. It's telling what you have agreed upon in your own heart. You have to some point make an agreement. You're free to not do so, though. When you get ready to make the agreement, that's when it happens. All things to all.
You were talking about agreements. I so agree with what was just said, and I want to add some. You know, no matter what we're going through, ultimately, we're the manufacturers of our hell or our heaven. We create them. And to change heaven to hell or hell to heaven, we need only to change a thought and go in a different direction. You know, and I was talking to somebody as you were speaking about self-creation or creating, us being the creators. They had a different perspective on manifesting than I did. And it was okay. What I came away with that conversation was that person was correct, and so was I. Somebody listening would say, well, how can you both be right? Well, see, in that person's world of creation, they were correct. And in mine, we're given to choose this day. Henry Ford said it. I don't even know if he realized the magnitude of what was said when he said it. Whether you think you can do a thing or you can't do a thing, you're correct. If you believe in a world of abundance, you're going to create abundance. If you believe everything is working together for your good, then you're going to be that person that everything is working together for your good. If you're the person that believes in world peace, then you see world peace wherever you go. There could be chaos in the street, but you see world peace coming from that chaos. Whatever it is that you believe, creators, if you believe in lack, loss, and limitation, be it unto you according to your faith. If you believe in wisdom, wellness, and wealth, be it unto you according to your faith. You're correct. You got anything to add to that?
People are constantly wondering what faith is. Faith is to you what you are. You're using it every day. You take your world for granted, you say, but you're actually taking it by faith. What you call taking it for granted, you're taking it by faith. Just expand on it. That's all you need to do is just expand yourself. Self in self and risen, that, we're told, is the drama man. You raise yourself up by what you think and feel about self. You're always being thought of as you are. And that can change if you desire to do so. I don't know about changing your appearance, but hey, They can do that too now. That movie Avatar, did that not actually seem like real creatures?
Yes, it did.
But the thing is that it was thought. They had to think these people up, didn't they? They had to think how to do this to make these characters look so real. They did that, didn't they? You can do that too. That's the whole point. Maybe you won't be in that field, but you can still have the same success that they have in any field if you believe it.
And I want to add to that. Lindell said that you can do that, and I'm going to add this. You are doing it.
Yeah.
Now, you may not be doing it successfully or to your liking, but you're creating avatars all the time.
Absolutely. See, they're always looking at their failures and never looking at their successes. And they are looking at their failures if they feel they're failing. That's what they're feeding on. They're feeding on their failures. And they have more failures. And the thing of it is that I'm guilty of all of it. But I saw that what it was. And you're given to see what it is. You're given to know. He said, you receive not because you ask not. Or you're asking amiss, but you're always receiving. You're receiving all of it. Even if you're receiving bad things, you're still receiving, but you're thinking what? All you have to do is look at your thinking, and you can match it up to what you're doing, and you'll know that you're thinking always ahead of your evidence, because here's the evidence. You're experiencing the evidence right now. So you did think it because that's how it happens. As you think, you are.
And speaking of that, I want to give an example.
Yes.
When I was with AT&T, I was with them for about 17 years, but 10 of those, I was actually doing a 50-mile commute one way into the job. And the first few years, it was the most stressful thing that I ever experienced. My stomach would be tied up into knots. I mean, I was very stressed out. I began changing the way I perceived that drive in. And I began taking advantage of digital books. And I was able to listen to all these books on my way to work. So, anything I wanted to learn about, I would just purchase the book, download it to my phone, and I would listen to it on my drive into work. My car became DeCarlo University. But it was the most pleasant hour of my life throughout the day. Well, 2 hours because I commuted, back and forth. But my whole point was when I changed my perspective about that commute, it no longer stressed me out. I was no longer having problems sleeping and everything else because my mind shift had changed. I had a different paradigm.
You were just practicing freedom. That's what you're trying to tell all the people to do. Exactly what you're talking about. It's perfect. What you focus on, that's what you're feeding. And if you keep feeding the monster, he gets bigger and bigger, and you get smaller and smaller. The old fairy tales, if you really look at them and get the essence of them, they're all telling you the same thing Scripture does. Look at Pinocchio. The story there is perfect. It just tells you, what idiots we start out to be. Just because we're uninformed. And you have to be informed. You have to know what you're doing. Find out. It's not that difficult, especially today with the computers. I mean, you want to know anything, you press a few buttons and here it is. So there's no reason for you to be uninformed. That you can change your mind, change your world. It's that simple because God told you it was that simple. He told you to do it. And if God tells you to do it, then you can do it.
Absolutely. And going back to what we started off the discussion with, was your father's business. And in choosing this day as you think you are. See, that's our business, thoughts. But the Father's business is the manifestation.